Welcome to Impact Duty. I'm your host, Manisha Dadlani Kriplani, bringing you empowering stories of friends and people I admire. Their voices have given me joy and the momentum to share their stories with you. Jugesh Dadlani is a global citizen. He was born in Hyderabad, Sindh, and made his first journey at the age of 1 to the newly formed India after the partition and creation of two new nations in 1947. His journey and adventures have led him to various countries and across continents and has allowed him to accrue a bank of wisdom and stories. Hello, Uncle Jack. Welcome to Impact Duty. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here too, and I'm happy that you have invited me here. So it gives me a chance to talk with you.
It's an especially important day because it's the day after your birthday. How have you been and where are you at the moment?
I am right now in Indonesia, in my daughter's house. We came here in February to attend her 50th birthday, and we're stuck here now. But I consider this as a blessing because, I get a chance to spend time with my children and grandchildren, which usually, we always are on the run, always on the run. If we spend 2 days, we think we have done a big deal. So God's forcing us to put us in this situation.
Yes, all the hidden blessings.
I consider it as a blessing. Yes, it is certainly a blessing. Certainly a blessing. Yeah. Certainly, I consider it as a blessing.
And Uncle Jack, yes. I'm actually very, very happy to have you here because this is actually a very significant episode for me on two counts, basically. One, because you've always been a father figure to me. And secondly, because by tracing back your roots and your journey, I get to experience my heritage. So Uncle Jack, I'm going to take you back to being a Hindu Sindhi, but not having ever really visited what is now Pakistan, your birthplace. How have you managed to maintain your identity as a Sindhi in terms of culture, heritage, language?
Well, you see, when we came to India, we were just 1 year old, so we didn't bring back any memories from there. But being a close-knit family, it was all the things that were told to us. We heard about this, we heard about that, and that's what made you connect with Pakistan. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what can a 1 year old baby remember about his home? But the longing has always been there. It's always been there. When you hear your parents talk about it, then you want to say, I wish I could go there and visit that place. Yeah, it is there.
And from what you heard from your elders, what was the journey like? As in, what was the route that was taken?
Yes, you see, my father and your grandfather, which is my elder brother, yeah, they used to be traveling to Bombay very often during the British rule. Right. They used to come to Bombay and trade with the British, I don't know if you would call it the East India Company or what, but they had the British companies there, and they would be selling them a lot of things, garments, handbags, this, that. So they kept coming and going between Sindh and Bombay. So they were well conversant with Bombay city, Right. So when this news came that partition is happening and they heard that everything was going to be a chaos, Unlike other people who went to other cities closer to the border, like Jaipur and all, Rajasthan and all that, they were more familiar with Bombay.
Right.
So they made arrangements to bring their whole family to Bombay.
Right.
And at that time, I am told, you know, my father had to pay and arrange for a bogie, you know, so that the whole family could come.
Right.
Which included, you know, all the family members that were there, including your dad and myself as 1-year-old babies, you know. And when we came to Bombay, well, the first few days or week perhaps, you know, until you found a home, even though my father was very familiar with the city, you still had to look for a home, right?
Right.
So we stayed with her sister. That means my aunt, my Masi,
Right.
my Puffy.
Right.
My father's sister.
Right.
She was staying in Worli, and it was a 1-bedroom house in a chawl.
Right.
She was with her children, and in spite of all that, she managed to take so many of us in, you know. And in those days, the relationship between the brothers and sisters and family was, you know, totally different. It was totally different. They were they were very close to each other. They would do anything for each other. We may have stayed a few days with a single bathroom or something outside being shared with I don't know how many people. I mean, I don't know because I was just a baby. This is just stories that were told to us, you know.
Right.
But very soon we were able to get a house in what you call Silk Bazaar, Kalba Devi, you know.
Oh, okay.
Kalba Devi, which was the center of town, heart of town. And we stayed there and that was the area, that was a place where they used to stay when they came on the business trips, you know.
Right.
So they managed to find a house there, and we stayed there. And then it was really hunting for a real home and a place where we could do our business.
Right.
So my father managed to find a shop in Dadar.
In Dadar.
You know, which he wanted to open. Yes, he wanted to open a retail cloth shop, you know.
Right.
So having found the shop, now he had to find a home which was in that vicinity, and we managed to get a house in Parel, which in those days was a mill area, you know. A lot of mills, cotton mills and all that were in those areas. You know about it now, how much it has changed, and it's become a different place altogether. But at that time, it was a mill area, and we managed to get a house there. And he had his business in Dadar, so communication was easy. That's how we started there.
Right.
And gradually, as we grew older, a couple of years, we had to go to school. So we managed to get a school also very near our house, just around the corner, you know. And it was called Parel English High School, you know. So it was just walking distance from our home. That was where we started our kindergarten and all that.
Which year approximately now are we looking at? We're looking at the early 50s?
We are looking probably around 1950s, yes.
Yes.
1950, yes, because first couple of years we did there. 50, 51, around that time,
Right.
we joined Don Bosco High School. That's where I had my initial education. You know,
Wonderful.
very good school, and just you can imagine the fees that we paid were so ridiculous. We paid something like 7 rupees, 7 or 8 rupees per month.
Wow.
Of course, it was different times, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're not. It was talking about those days, different values then.
Right.
You know, so that's where I did my schooling.
Right.
That's where I did my schooling.
Uncle Jack, I'm going to.
What else would you like to know?
Yes, actually, I'm going to take you back to when you mentioned that my grandfather and your father were traders. I want you to highlight something that I'm not quite clear on, which is Sindhi Bibans, Sindhi Amals. Was there really actually distinctions based on trade and the careers they
You
pursued?
see, yes. You see, this is in general, you know, everywhere. The educated people, you know, were the Amals.
Okay.
Amals were the people who spent a lot of time and they wanted their children to be educated. So they ended up into civil services, you know, being teachers and being judges and lawyers, you know, all the professional, what do you call, jobs were by the Amals, you know.
Right.
Then we had the Shikarpuris, you know.
Right.
Shikarpuris were people who dealt with money. They were people who gave money or lent money on interest. They knew how to collect the money and everything. That was their business. And even up to today, if you see most of the Shikarpuris, after they have even come into India, they were into the money lending business. So they did that. Now we were, as traders, many of us went to foreign lands to work, you know.
Right.
My father went out to work. He worked in Japan for quite a few years. He worked in Indonesia. He was in Surabaya. And at one time, he was the president of the Indian Association there.
Wonderful.
You see, so they went initially as workers with other Sindhwarki companies, you know. There were big companies who needed people as salespeople, as in accounts or in anything, you know. They wanted people to take care. And they hired people from Pakistan, you know, from Hyderabad. And everybody went there. And then gradually, you know, when they because he had a lot of obligations. He had 6 children, their children, and their children. You see, so he was, you know, it was like a big joint family, and like in all families, some have ups and some have downs, you know. So he had to be taking care of all the members. So he didn't get a chance to start his own business. My father borrowed money and borrowed money from here, there, and he said, okay, you people can go and start your business in Japan.
Wonderful. So the first branching out abroad was to Japan by Uncle Kish. All right.
Was to Japan. Finally, they reached Okinawa. They had a couple of recommendations, and when they went to survey and see, look, we're come here to start our a business. We want to start uh, the tailoring business. Like all Sindhis, you know, everywhere, everyone discouraged them. Arre, are you crazy? We are having such a difficult time. Where are you going to start a do, make money, this, that? They discouraged him, discouraged both the brothers very much. Your grandfather was ready. He said, oh, let's go, let's pack our bags and go home.
Right.
My brother was determined not to go home. He says, I've taken this and I have to go ahead.
Right.
So they left Okinawa and they came to Osaka.
Right.
They came to Osaka where one of my sister's husband was working with Boatsons at that time.
Right.
You know, Boatsons was a big firm. He was working with them and he had just left them. So they joined up with him. He told them, okay, come, let's all of us get together and start our export company.
Right.
So they started their export company under the name of SD Corporation.
Right.
SD Corporation. And SD was Sirumal Dadlani, you know, always the eldest son's name, you know. So he started his journey and he went through East Africa, Aden, this, that, finally ended up in Accra. That's, So he ended up in Accra. This was 57, 58, somewhere there, you know, 56, 57.
All right.
Anyway,
So right at the brink of when Ghana was getting their independence.
Correct.
Right.
When did Ghana get its independence?
57. 10 years after India.
57. Yes. So they had not gotten independence yet at the time when your grandfather went there. But he went there. There were a lot of Sindhi firms there. And he went there getting orders, going to each big company saying, here are some shirts, here are some socks, here are some bags, here are some this, and get orders, you know, from them. And the orders were in cases, you know, they would say 100 dozens, 200 dozens, you know. So it was not like containers of these days, okay?
Yes.
So he would collect those and it would be like, say, if it was, for example, a shirt was $1 and if he was selling 200 dozens, which was 2,400 pounds. There were pounds in those days in Ghana, you know. 2,400 pounds, how much does he make? 3%. Hardly anything. Hardly anything worth mentioning. But when those people received their goods, that £1 shirt, they were selling at £3. He says, this is bloody crazy. I mean, what am I doing? Am I crazy working for peanuts? And I mean, what am I doing? So what he did was he in turn had a friend in Freetown who lent him some money. You know, he borrowed some money, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds or whatever it was. And when he used to send orders for the other clients, you know, the 200 and this, he would tell his brother in Japan, look, add 20 dozen for me, add 10 dozens for me. So, you know, 1/10 of what those people are buying. So he used up his 5,000 pounds in getting goods. That's how he started in Ghana.
Wonderful. And
that is how he started. And he was able to make more than double the money that he had borrowed and return the money to his friend. And he said, this is where I should be. And that's how he started Ghana. in 1964, your grandfather said, look, now it's time for us to put a factory.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, Jack, you better get ready, take up this vocation. You've learned tailoring,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to make bras, you know,
Oh, really?
because there's a lot of demand for ladies' bras here. So you take a course and get ready.
Uh-huh.
So I was at that time in the first year of my BCom. You know, I just finished school and just joined college when this call of duty came. And I took up a course and started learning tailoring, making shirts, bras, this, that, you know. But making bras is not a very easy thing. Let me tell you that, you know. I was called to duty in 64. I remember it was late 64s, and I went to Accra to start the factory there. We started off with very simple, basic items, you know, like bed sheets and scarves and handkerchiefs, and then moved on to ladies' underwear, but not the bras, because it was very, very complicated and needed a lot of you know, what you call lot of attention. So we just got into the garment business.
Right.
And I was in charge of the factory there. My brother used to run the trading. So slowly we grew. 4 years later, it was my turn to get married.
I'm going to stop you there.
I got married to...
I'm not going to let you go through the marriage so fast. Okay, so you've had a love story which is almost like a Karan Johar movie, okay? So you have an almost Bollywood kind of love story. So I'm going to take you back and tell me how you met Auntie Renu, and, you know, was it love at first sight? And
so I'll go back again to Bombay then, you know.
Okay.
1960, when my father died, Vishnu,
my dad,
your dad, met Khushru, who you know today, Parsi boy who used to come for tuitions in our area. And they got into talking, and they said they got talking into comic books, about comic books.
Right.
So Vishnu told them, you know, my uncle has a lot of comic books. So he says, oh, can I get some comic books from your uncle?
Right.
So he says, sure. And he came down and started calling my name. He said, that's your uncle. Are you kidding me? You are telling me this is your uncle? So, yeah, that's my uncle. So I became friends with Khushru on the strength of comic books.
Right.
Okay. And he became a better friend. With me, he bonded more with me than with your father. But originally, your father was Khushru's friend. He found him. Okay. Now back again to Accra when I was with my brother. Same comic story comes up. This time, it's not Vishnu, because Vishnu was in Japan at that time. He was working in Japan, I was working in Accra. And so this time it was his younger brother, Nari, whose classmate was Renu. And Renu was interested, Sushila as she was called at that time, was interested in comics. He says, my uncle has comics. So, oh, can I have some? So let's go and meet uncle. This is your uncle. So comics has bonded me with two very important people in my life. That's how I actually met Renu. She used to come to her aunt's house who stayed above us. And so there it started. And friendship developed. And then I told my mother that this thing, I like this girl. So, okay. So let's talk to her parents, this, that. And then you know how it goes in our Indian system.
Right.
We've got to show our horoscopes.
Yes.
So they got the horoscopes and they matched the horoscopes, which didn't match.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say it was a perfect match.
No, it didn't match. The Maharaj said, if this boy marries this girl, he will die in a couple of years. Now, how can my mother accept that? Yes. Very funny situation. Anyway, I was adamant, and then I said, no, I want to marry this girl.
Right.
So Khushru acted as the go-between the Maharaj, and the Maharaj was a very educated man. He got as a middleman there, and he told them, look here, this guy is bent on marrying this girl. You can't say he'll die, this, that. He said, okay, we'll find a solution. We'll do some pujas and this and that, you know. Said, done, done, done. Yeah. Let's get it going.
Wonderful. Wow.
So doing all that, we have now celebrated 50 years of being together.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I got married in Ghana in 68, 68, 69, 68.
Right.
Yes, 68. And I moved to what you call Japan to work with my brother in Japan.
All right.
At this time, at this stage, we went through a little, what do you call, I wouldn't say sad, this, that, but we decided that brothers wanted to separate, you know.
Right.
So your dad came to Accra to be with his father. And I went and worked with my brother in Japan.
Right.
I was there for a year, and at that time, Renu was pregnant with Jenny. So we had Jenny in Osaka. Completely new place, new language. I didn't know what the hell was happening.
Right.
And it was those days that you never, I mean, here you are, you know, you have the fathers running around the room at the hospital, this, that, nothing of that sort. Poor Renu was left all alone in the hospital to deliver the baby by herself. And she was only 17 at that time, you know.
Right.
But Jenny was born in Japan. Now, after Japan, since we were separating, I came back to Accra, and I said, now I have to start business. So let me start business. My father-in-law offered me a factory that he had. He says, okay, so I bought over that factory from him and wanted to start the factory there in Ghana. But I found myself getting more and more and more involved into all my father-in-law's business. And I said, no, now I am losing my identity, you know. So I had applied for my Canadian citizenship, immigration,
right.
which came through, you know, since my sister was there. I said, look here, guys, I'm moving to Canada. I went into retail business in a mall, which was, you know, 12 hours work.
Oh dear.
12 hours of work, you know. Started the shop in a mall at 9, ending at 9 in the night. So when my father-in-law saw all this, he says, you know, Jack, you're wasting your time. Look at all your friends in Ghana. They're all making money. They're all doing great things. You're slaving away for 12 hours a day. What are you doing? He convinced me to pack up and I moved to Ghana. This was in 1977, 76. Moved to Ghana, and I didn't join my father-in-law. I joined up two of my friends, you know, one of whom was working with us, under your father, you know, grandfather. He was working with us. So I joined him and another cousin of my, Renu, and we started a garment factory. Same line, same thing, underwear and all that. And we did very well. We grew, and we built it up brick by brick. You know, your grandfather gave me a plot of land next to his factory, so we started building our factory there, and we literally built it brick by brick. If we had $1,000, okay, let's build a wall, build a foundation, and we grew, and we did very well. So, after that factory got going, then came the time that I had to take another decision. I lost my brother in 1988. 1988, I lost my brother. That is your grandfather. And 2 years later, I had to make a decision now. Do I stay in Ghana or do I move out? We made a decision. I mean, amongst the three of us, we decided whoever wants to buy can buy it, or buy anyone off. I didn't have money. The others had, the other two partners joined together. They bought me off, and I moved out. Now, where do I go? I decided now that Ghana, I burnt the bridge there. Jenny was ready to get married. So we got her married in December. Okay. We got her married in December. And so I moved to Indonesia at that time, you know. And one would ask, why would you choose Indonesia? Where? Why? How? But I had my sister-in-law, Nazni, you know, who was from Indonesia. And so I thought there would be support, you know. So everywhere you go, you look for some kind of support. So, and I went into exports. Very good period again in Indonesia, very good period, right from 1990 to almost 98, when Suharto fell. When Suharto fell, and then everything was in shambles, and we didn't know what to do. So a couple of years tried, didn't work out. I moved to Bangkok for 2 years, you know, moved to Bangkok for 2 years, and handling my niece's husband's company there. He had an operation running there. But things were not good all in Southeast Asia at that time. Didn't work out. So I moved to Hong Kong, was there for 2 years, and then moved to China in 2004, I think, 2004. And I've been there since then. So I've been all over.
All over.
Had a good long trip.
Wonderful, Uncle Jack, really.
Yes, yes. So it's been a nice long journey, and at every place we have been together. When I was in Indonesia, Nari had come there also. Later on, when I moved to China, he came there. Wherever we have been, you know, we have had our family ties, you know, we've been together. So that's what has kept us going. That's what has kept us going. Even today, we live on all that.
Yes, yes.
So that's my story.
Oh, Uncle Jack, thank you for tracing back your roots, because like I said, it allows me to trace back my history as well. And Uncle Jack, where do you
Yes.
consider
Yes.
home now?
Oh my God. That's a very, very difficult question. Home has been everywhere where we have been, you know. Accra was home, Canada was home, you know, China was home, Indonesia was home, you know. Everywhere that we went, we've had good friends, good relatives, good life. I can't really pick one from the other, because each and every place had its own unique way of treating us, you know.
For sure.
So we enjoyed at each place. And if you would say, where would you like to stay now? Again, very difficult question.
Yeah.
I would like to go back to India and stay there, but it's very difficult.
Yes.
After having stayed out for so many years,
Yeah.
you don't fit into the Indian society there.
Right.
It's home, yes, but we are, you know, square pegs in round holes, or round pins in square holes, whatever you say.
Right. Right.
So I don't know what tomorrow holds for us, but I'm ready to take another leap.
Bravo.
My wife won't like that.
Bravo. And Uncle Jack,
Yes.
what's the best piece of advice you've received?
You know, my guru, my trainer was your grandfather.
Right.
Anything that I am today, anything and everything that I am today is because of him. You know, my father died early, so I was only 16, 17 at that time, you know, so it was, you know, he was not a big influence on my life, but your grandfather was, and he was very meticulous. He was systematic. He taught me. If I sit down and tell you stories about that, we could sit a whole night. But he was my teacher, and he always advised me on each and everything. You know, do this, do that. No, and he was a man of principles. Very, very honest, very thorough. You know. Of course, I'll always speak very good. You'll say, "Oh, he's your brother," so you'll always. But he was a gem of a man. Gem of a man.
And Uncle Jack, what are you leaving us with? What advice are you leaving us? A piece of advice you'd like to leave us with?
You know, live your life with honesty. Be honest to yourself and to others, you know, and do what you want to do, you know. Don't restrict yourselves, you know, that, oh, since I'm a businessman, you must do this. No, live your dreams. You know, do what you want to do. You want to be a lawyer, go be a lawyer, you know. You want to be a teacher, go be a teacher. Live your life that way, you know. Don't be constrained by your parents. Don't let your parents bog you down somewhere.
Great. Uncle Jack, thank you for sharing your journey and story with us.
Thank you.
I can't tell you how much it actually
so
meant to me. So thank you very much.
Thank you too. It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Take care.